Hey everybody, welcome to SwingBadder. We just finished another roundup of a week for all of Major League, and I am ready to get into it. As joined always, Todd. As always, Dad. You guys ready for the Batter 5?
Oh, I'm afraid of it this week.
It.
I just wanted to say, to start the week, it didn't start very good for the teams we like. The Diamondbacks and the Mets and the Texas Rangers in all reality. They're only one of those teams climbed their way out of the Batter 5. And that was the Mets. The Mets did not make it. They finished the week very strong. Starting at first place of the week was your and Kyle's and Justin's Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers for the week were 1-5. They were a -12 on run differential. They scored for the total of the week, the second lowest runs, 16 for the whole week, which is
That's brutal.
not good.
Why don't you tell us who they played?
I'll get to that. They were swept by the Yankees, which is not surprising. They were right in all of those games. But then they were almost swept by the White Sox. Their win came on Sunday in the top of the ninth, where they scored 3 runs to come back to beat the White Sox. As you all know, the White Sox are not very good. So they went, based on the quality of their one win, they are now in first place of the Batter 5. They have gone roughly, I call them fourth place because the Angels finally lost a couple. They're in third. Their record is currently 26-28. They have paid $216 million to be, get this, they are currently, I think, fourth from the worst in runs scored, and they are also fourth, I believe, in batting average of the worst of the league.
And they scored 10 runs in 2 games. Like you're saying, over 6 games, they scored, what'd you say, 16 runs?
16 runs in total.
Yeah, but 10 of those were in 2 games. So over 4 games, they scored 6 runs.
A lot of
which
math
was
going on. A lot of math.
Listen,
everybody. That's
yeah,
terrible.
it's Memorial Day, and you're stressing me out with this math. There's a lot of numbers involved here. I just went and I looked at the Texas Rangers schedule. The loss to the Yankees 0-1. Did DeGrom pitch that?
I think that was. I don't.
That's got all the makings of a DeGrom start. I like this. Texas Rangers, you need to understand. It was Evaldi, who has a 1.6 ERA. The guy deserves better. This team is embracing full-on New York Mets life with DeGrom.
What was what? That's his ERA. What's his record with that ERA?
Evaldi, after that game, he's 4-3
With a
1.6. With a 1.6.
It's terrible. I was joking on my Texas Ranger wrap up, which I'm going to do later this week because Aiden's doing finals, but I did a quick one for everybody. There's a show on CNN called Searching for Sping with Eva Longoria as she comes back. I think the Rangers' entire season should be searching for runs. And they should have like Nolan Ryan just walking through Texas looking for runs, going to different Little League parks and college baseball fields and like, how do you cross home plate? How do we get there? It's really tragic. So that's number 1. First place, the Rangers. They beat the White Sox. That's their only win of the week. Second place, Dad, is our team, the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Hey, I don't mind talking about Diamondbacks, but
thoughts on that.
The Rangers, the one win, they got 3 in the ninth, but then almost blew it in the bottom of the ninth as the White Sox, as we know, the powerful White Sox rallied, but didn't quite make it.
You are correct. And so we go to the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are second, and the reason they are second place is they also went 1-5 on the week. They started the week off 1-0, beating the Dodgers 9-5. They finished with a run differential of -2, so they're, in all reality, not losing by too many runs. They're in these games, but they just seem to find ways to lose when they steal from victory. They bring defeat to the jaws of victory, if you will. They're seventh in both ERA and the most runs allowed in Major League Baseball. Now that we're into the season quite a bit, these are things that are bad trends. Dad, you talk.
Are you meaning seventh from the bottom? What do you mean by?
They are
Yeah.
7th from the bottom. They have spent $181 million to be in 4th place and cemented. They are really good at 4th place right now in the NL West, and they have a record of 26-27. So you said they had 7 starting pitchers. I would like to find 2 or 3 where the Diamondbacks start to look like themselves again. They're in the games, but 5 losses in a row, swept by the Cardinals, which the Cardinals are, I believe, now comfortably ahead of them in the wild card race. And the Cardinals have been playing very good baseball, but the Diamondbacks do not look good.
Well, when the team starts losing, it's not one piece. They don't hit when men are on base. They make a stupid fielding play, throw a wild pitch. Not anything that dominates the statistics, but 5 losses in a row. The last 4, they out-hit the other team and lost. The first one that they lost, hits were even. So they were not out-hit in a single one of those 5 losses. It's just giving up hits when men are on base and not hitting when men are on base. And it just drives you crazy. And it's whatever can go wrong can go wrong. Typical example for Diamondback fans was yesterday's loss, down 1 in the ninth. 8th and 9th batters get on base, nobody out. Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Lourdes Gurriel coming up. Inning ended with the 2 runners on first and second. Oh, no, they did advance second and third after the second out. No hits from the best 3 hitters. A single would have won the game. Didn't happen.
And then the previous game against the Cardinals, they had the lead and then blew it in the bottom of the ninth.
I'm not as concerned. I'm not really that concerned about the Diamondbacks. I hate being like one of these guys like, hey, I got to look at advanced stats or that type of thing. They're 7th in Major League Baseball with their exit velocity. They're hitting the ball really hard. They're in the top 25th percentile of Major League Baseball on hard hit balls. They're surrounded. I mean, they're just probably having bad luck. One of the weird things I'm seeing on this chart, though, and it blows my mind, they are 1 behind the Dodgers in average exit velocity. They're actually tied at 90 miles per hour on average exit velocity for the hitters. Both the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks are trailing the Orioles.
Oh.
Who are hitting the ball with a higher exit velocity, who are tied with the Braves.
Interesting.
So, you would think exit velocity equals more hits, except if you hit it at somebody. But over time, what are you going to get there?
Well, the truth is, you got 2/3 of the season left to play. A team like the Rangers, who have just been, sorry, they actually, but if you look at the standings, are in better shape than the Diamondbacks because no one's running away with that league. If they get hot, it's not inconceivable they could still win the league. Diamondbacks have no chance of winning the league because they're in the league with the Dodgers. So they have to make it as a wild card. And the competition there is, you go across the whole National League, there's some teams playing really well, and they're significantly behind them. But it's just
this is, to me, you have a 1 in 5 week, you end up on the batter 5. What you don't want to do is end up on the batter 5 3 out of 4 weeks, for instance, or 2 out of 4 weeks. That's just bad news. You want to be doing 3 and 3 to make the batter 5. And I tell you guys this on text every single week. By Friday, I have 8 or 9 candidates, teams that are just not playing very well to start the week. And by Saturday, it really comes down to like 4 or 5 teams. And my 5th place team is interesting because they played against a team that would have been there. The loser wins. The loser would have made the list. And the loser made the list. 3rd and 4th are hilarious to me because they're repeat offenders. The Sacramento A's are 3rd and the Colorado Rockies are 4th. Why are the Sacramento A's 3rd instead of 4th and vice versa? Does it really matter? Both of these teams were let's just go over the A's. The A's are 1 in 5 on the week. They were minus 16 in run differential. They have gone 1 in 9 in their last 10. My favorite about this, during this streak, ESPN wrote, can the A's make the playoffs? The A's are in 5th place. The Angels and their win streak put them ahead of them. They have $75 million. They're 23-31. This is my point about being in the batter 5. They were in the batter 5 for 2 straight weeks. They were above 500 2 weeks ago by a game. They are 23-31 now. So 2 weeks in the batter 5, they're in 5th place in that AL West, and they don't look like they're coming back anytime soon. Their only win came against the Phillies, which is why I have them in 3rd place instead of 2nd or 1st. I feel the Phillies are a good competition. The Phillies had a great week. So for the A's to win against the Phillies and not be swept and go 0-6 on the week, bravo. But I feel this is the beginning of the end. They need to get out of the batter 5. This is a bad trend to be in the batter 5. Ask the Rockies.
They would have gone 0-7. They played 7 games. They didn't have a day off. They played Monday through Thursday and then Friday through Sunday against the Phillies.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. They were 1-6 on -16. Correct. Thank you.
So I gotta give him an A for effort. And to Dad's point, if even the Rockies are projected in Dad's mind to at some point win 5 straight games, which it blows my mind, then this team's just going through a slump. I'm a believer in the Sacramento Athletics. I'm all in. I like the Athletics. I'm buying low here. I'm buying low.
He's a believer, Dad.
Somebody's got to believe in this team.
Yep.
Somebody's got to believe in this team.
I think they had their 5-game streak. I think their winning time may have passed, but a week is very unpredictable. What's next, Brendan?
Really easy, the Colorado Rockies. They were also 1-6 on the week. Their only win came against the Yankees, which is why they're 4th place, because that's a big win for the Colorado Rockies. In fact, it's so big, they are 1 win away from getting to double digits, everybody. They got their 9th win of the year. They are 9-44. This is a runaway train of disaster. They have been on the batter 5 ever since I started the batter 5. That is amazing. To your point, Dad, they haven't found the 5-game win streak. And I think what I'm seeing with the Rockies now, because they played some tight games, teams are feeling the pressure of having to sweep this team. So when they have to play them, it gets a lot of pressure. You can't lose any games. So when the Yankees lost, it was like everybody wrote about it. So you got to beat them by a lot. Their run differential, oh, by the way, their run differential got worse. They were -28 on the week. That's not even comparable to any. They're the only team in the 20s. -28, close to 30. This is a consistent problem. This is the Rockies of today. Do they get their 10th win this week? Do they get off the batter 5? I don't know, but they're 4th, and you could easily tell me they could have been worse, but I'm trying to help them get out of the list.
You know, it gets worse. I mentioned last week that they had this pitcher named Dolinger, who's pretty good.
Yes.
He no-hit the Rangers for 6 innings, pitched really well against the Diamondbacks. He's on the disabled list. So he's gone.
What did he do right to have that happen?
Yeah.
The rest of the team beat him up in the locker room for making him look bad.
You want to hear this? So we've got like the advanced stats at Baseball Savant. This is the chart that I'm grousing today as we're talking about this. So I'm looking at expected batting average and differential.
Ooh.
And the expected batting average measures the likelihood that a batted ball will become a hit. They also have the expected weighted on-base average, which is exit velocity, launch angle on certain types of batted balls, the sprint speed of the runner. So what is the expected weighted on-base average for the Colorado Rockies based on quality of contact plus strikeouts and walks?
And the speed of the runner.
And the speed of the runner.
What's considered good?
I think the average for your expected weighted on-base average, the average for the league is 322.
Oh, then they're like a 218.
And that's Houston.
Yeah.
Houston and Baltimore are 322.
Oh, so they're 218?
No, it's not that bad. They are 299. That's their expected weighted on base.
Okay, that's really good. A lot better than
Their expected batting average as a team, based on the quality of contact they are making with the ball, is 231.
That's pretty good.
What's their team batting average?
I think it's 220 right now.
It is 220. They're 10 points less. They are actually underperforming the worst expected batting average in Major League Baseball. We're not even expecting a lot, and you're underperforming.
I think we should appreciate this. This is record-setting performance. If a guy comes up and hits 5 home runs in a game, we're going to talk about it. This team's doing something like that. This is unprecedented.
Yes.
My question is, how many weeks in a row can Colorado be on the batter five?
That's a good question.
Because right now, they are consistent. And to make sure you're on the batter five, you get 1 win in a week, you're on the batter five. They're 9-44. So that's their average. They get 1 win a week. And the question is, who will give them the 1 win? And we will find out as we have another wonderful week of baseball ahead of us. And in rounding out the batter five, a newcomer, after their first week of the season, actually, their first 10 games, the Atlanta Braves are back. They had a bad week. They were 1-4. They had just gone above 500, and everyone was really excited about them. Well, they faced off against those gritty Washington Nationals. And one game was rained out. They went 0-2 against the Nationals. Then they faced the Padres, and the Padres had a bad week. And when I say the Padres had a bad week, the Padres were there. They were a -21 on the week. But because the Padres beat the Braves twice, the Braves ended up on the batter five. The winner of Sunday's game got off a batter five, and the loser is on it. The Braves finished 1-4. They have spent $215 million to finish, currently go 25-27. They are pretty far out. I think they're 6.5 games behind the Mets currently right now, and they need to not have these kind of weeks. So can every team be on the batter five? Sure. So there's some teams that you may be missing. The Baltimore Orioles didn't make it this week. The Angels continue to not make it. The Marlins, the Nationals. There's a lot of teams that we project to be on this list that don't make it because every team has an opportunity every week to end up on the batter five. And this week we have 3 teams that I would qualify as probably very playoff-worthy contenders: the Braves, the Diamondbacks, and the Rangers. And all 3 of these teams.
But is it fair if they only played 5 games?
You can make that argument, but every other team had 2 wins. This is the last team with 1 win.
Yeah.
I could have argued for the Padres, but they lost the series to the Padres, so I can't put the Padres ahead of the Braves.
I like the fact that we're doing a week because everybody can have a bad game. The Yankees lost to the Rockies. I mean the Rockies are playing replays of that game for the rest of the year.
In fact, if you go to the Rockies Stadium and you buy tickets to a suite, they just play that game instead of the game that's actually on the field.
I want to ask about this to my 2 geniuses here. You keep telling me how Baltimore has got all these great hitting statistics. I
didn't say they were great.
How?
I said, but something's wrong.
What's the deal? Is it just they just have like the worst pitching of all the teams? Is that the fact? They
have one of the worst stats. I'm glad you brought this up because I'm going to get to pitching in a second. But let's go to the plus minus. My favorite, run differential. The Rockies continue to blow me away. The Rockies are so bad it's not. They are currently now a -171 in runs. Folks, we have played 53 games. -171. The best plus on this thing, I think, is the Yankees with a 107, which is amazing. Congratulations, Yankees. The Baltimore Orioles are -95, allowing 295 runs while scoring 200. If the Rangers scored 200, they would be celebrating in the streets. So
go down that path for a second. Explore that with the Rangers, right?
The Rangers would be so ecstatic. Their run differential is not pretty at all. They're currently sitting at a -11. They've only scored 182 runs. They've allowed 193, which is really good. So,
but it's like 200 runs, they're +7.
but it's a
Like
big
that's,
deal. It's a big deal when you're losing 1-0. It's a big deal when you're losing 3-4. Like they're not losing by a lot.
I mean, you look in the AL West and you have the Angels are allowing, like, this is the crazy thing with the Rangers, is that their runs scored is so pathetic
Yes.
that the fact that the runs against is 193, like only the Houston Astros have better run against numbers.
There's one other team that's playing really well. They're actually in the wild card right now. Is the Kansas City Royals have only scored 179 runs, and their pitching has only allowed 177. And now you're getting into the elite status of pitching with 177.
Well,
It's
the
really
Twins are 176.
it's it's really quite, yes. The Twins. This is why the AL Central is surprising all of us. The other thing that's interesting to me is again, I just can't get over these numbers. 343 runs allowed by the Rockies. That's just That's just an amazing number. I mean, I don't even know how else to put that. Like the Athletics are 308. The Orioles are 295. These are just like, this is what the
I heard
stats.
the Rockies are the worst start in the first 40 or 50 games or 45 games since 1895.
Yep. I know this one.
I
know.
I knew we'd get into your century. Let's
I
go.
know this is. I was there. That's the famous Cleveland Spiders.
Nice.
Cleveland Spiders, who canceled almost all their home games because no one would come. And they played like only. They only played like 19 home games for the whole season.
First off, we're talking about 1895. You didn't have a
Right.
lot to do. They weren't even coming to see whatever that was.
No, they were drawing like 100 people, so they just said, "Forget it. We'll just play away games." But the away teams didn't want them because they couldn't draw people to see them either.
Are you sure? Are you sure they drew 100 people, or were those the people that just woke up in the stadium from drinking the night before?
And then maybe the people that had to be there to park cars or to no, they didn't have cars back then. Sell hot dogs, be the reporters.
Why does the city connect to a Cleveland Spider
Oh, that would be good.
uniform with Cleveland? Like, what's wrong with that?
But we're 2025. Think about how crazy what we are witnessing with the Rockies. Like, it's so insane with the amount of people, the amount of talent that's out there. This is what you're doing.
It's
So
brutal.
getting into the pitching of the Rockies, and I know we love to follow Rockies pitchers. How is our boy Antonio doing? Well, I looked up some stats to specifically not target Rockies pitchers, but just to see which pitching staff is allowing the most hits per pitcher. Antonio leads them all. He has allowed 90 hits on the season, and he has a 1.94 whip for that. The next best or worst pitcher in the SwingBadder archives is Kyle Freeland of the Colorado Rockies, who's allowed 80 hits. They've both pitched. Freeland's pitched 55 and a third, and Antonio's pitched 54. So this is pretty wild. The next worst is 69 hits. So the Rockies have 1 and 2, and they're running away. And the innings are not even comparable to the rest of these people on the top of the list. Like,
You want to hear the expected batting average for this team, for the pitchers, is 282.
allowed.
By far, that you are expected against this pitching staff to hit 282 based on bat quality. Senzatella, his expected batting average based on how people are hitting the ball is 338. Opponents are actually batting 375.
Yes, they're doing way better. Way better.
So not only is he the victim of bad luck, it's just quality of contact.
It's to be this bad in baseball. It's like a beautiful meal that's prepared poorly the whole way through. When they do hit the ball, the fielders can't make up ground. They can't catch the ball. They're not making the play. They're not they're not doing the things you need. So like when your pitcher allows a really hard hit ball, your defense isn't bringing that to an out. It's for certainly a hit. So like at this point, when you're showing up to the ballpark and you're a pitcher for the Rockies, it's just like this is disastrous. Yeah,
It's like you took the Wagyu steak and you just dropped it right in the charcoal and served it up, pretended it was actually cooked.
it's really wild because you're right. Antonio currently batting average against is 375. Freeland's 336. There's Trevor Williams of Washington is the only one with a 305 against him that has a lot of starts, over 10 starts. So to your point, Dad, the good pitcher got hurt. These other pitchers aren't. And that doesn't even bring up like, where's my boy Jermaine? Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jermaine Marquis also is allowing a 313 average. So that's three starting pitchers for the Rockies that are above 300 when they start as a pitcher. And their whips are, Jermaine is a 168, Freeland's a 168, Antonio's a 194 in whip. Those are three of their starters.
So
Really?
Senzatella has had 259 plate appearances. 214 balls are in play.
It's wild.
so let's just say the Rockies are in their own stratosphere, okay?
Agree with that. Yeah.
If we take them out, I think my memory is right. We fired 3 managers this year, if I remember: Pittsburgh, Rockies, and Baltimore.
Yep.
So Baltimore is a disaster, but they hit the ball. So I'm just thinking to myself, forgetting how the nonsense of the Rockies, Baltimore's pitchers also have to be like record-setting, horrible.
Here's where we are at with.
I am glad you asked. Let me bring up some stats.
Hold on a second. With just the team, the bottom 5 teams in Major League Baseball on WHIP, just on WHIP, because ERA can always change. You're talking about the Miami Marlins are a 145. Then it's the Orioles and Athletics are a 148. Then the Angels are a 153, even though they had a great win streak. Do not get excited. That's the win streak you were talking about, Dad. The Angels had this great win streak. Here come the Angels. They're going to be on the batter side next week with a 153. The Rockies are a 161. The average against on the pitching staff for a team, the Rockies are a 298. So the other ones are 274, 266, 274 for the Orioles. So the Orioles are, in fact, the second worst in batting average against them. So the Orioles are in Stinkville. And if you look at their record, you know how we said, when can we call it? We got to call it for the Orioles. Like, the Orioles are out. Like, there's no coming back from this. They are currently 18-34. The White Sox are 17-36. They're competing with the White Sox. Like, they're done.
The Orioles have some starting pitchers that are putting up expected batting averages that are unrealistically high.
Can you just tell me about Gibson? They just dropped him, so he must have had, what was it,
his
450?
His expected batting average was 353. So opponents were hitting a full 100 points higher than expected against him.
Did they cut him?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Charlie Morton's got to be right behind.
He's sticking. They're sticking with Charlie. How's Charlie doing, Todd?
His expected batting average is 274. I can do expected ERA if you want that one. Charlie Morton's expected ERA is 5.15, so he's actually doing 2.5 points worse than what would be expected based on how they're hitting him.
Baseball is a land of stats. It's like the Candyland. It's just stats on top of stats. So I like how Dad's looking at this. Like, just give me what the ERA actually is. Don't tell me what he would expect his ERA to be if he happened to fall on a good team. He's on the Orioles, and the Orioles are a bad team. So his real ERA is in the 7s. Is that what you're saying?
His real ERA is a 7.68, but based on how people are hitting him, it should be probably 5.15.
Oh, poor guy.
It's brutal.
Your website that you're on, Todd, is is it labeled MIT student gets into baseball?
BaseballSavant.mlb.com. This is the StatCast glossary. This
guy lives in his basement, has no friends.
This is all computers.
All
computers.
I want you to understand something. I grounded into double plays because I wanted to know, as a team, if you were, how were you doing? Good. Maybe the Rockies aren't this bad. They just grounded into a lot of double plays. That's not the case.
Right.
Teams that are amazing. The Athletics lead all of baseball with 52.
That they've hit into or
They've
turned.
they've they have hit into, grounded into a double play.
Okay.
The Pittsburgh Pirates have 50, and the Pirates need every run they can get. The Mets have 47. They're third.
Well, they've got two guys in the top 10.
You brought it up because then what did I do? I went over to grounded into double plays to see who is leading this efforts for the grounded into double plays. You do have Juan Solo and Pete Alonso in the
Yep.
grounded into double play realm. So that's
Yeah.
what's happening with the Mets in the
Well, okay. So now that we're going to bring up the Soto thing, I know last week I got hot and heavy on Soto. I was angry last week. I dove into some stats, and I actually think the guy has had some bad luck based on some of these advanced. Dad's diving in and eating because I got a snack for this thing, right? Because of there's something going
You
on
want
with
to see me
Soto.
pass out?
Well, he's actually hitting the ball as hard as he needs to. He's in the top 97th percentile in Major League Baseball for balls hit, for how hard he's hitting them. He just happens to be hitting them at fielders. And if you look at some of the replays of some of these fielding plays that have been made against him, defenses are either lining up perfectly or fielders are making amazing plays in the outfield to cut off doubles. They're like, you had one incident with runners on base where Crow Armstrong did a Crow Armstrong and just robbed him of an extra base hit. Now, we saw in the last weekend against the Dodgers, he had a clutch double that was probably 3 feet south of a home run. If it was any other park, it probably would have been a home run. Bounced off the top of the wall, and he got the double with the bases loaded. Had an RBI last night in the game, but he's still topping the ball. He's hitting a lot of ground balls. His ground ball percentage, I think, was at 51%, and that's a full 10 percentage points higher than where it was last year. He would probably be driving the ball farther. He would probably have more line drive singles if he had his bat angle still a little bit different. But that's what we're talking about with him. But he's hitting into a lot of double plays. It's very frustrating. But this is an adjustment. It's not like his bat speed's a little bit slower, but he's lacing the ball. But it was really encouraging last night to see him get on base and hustle out a single, and then to see Pete Alonso come out of his slump and hit the home run. So Soto will be there. Soto will be there.
I told you to wait till after the All-Star break. I'm glad you agree with me. I just wanted to make a point that just because you hit into a lot
I'm
of
waiting until next week. Now. I want now.
just because you hit into ground ball double plays doesn't mean you're a bad team, because it has to mean you have people in position. So let's ask ourselves about our lovely number one batter five, the Texas Rangers. How many ground into double plays do they have since they don't score a lot or hit a lot? They only have 27. You may say that's really good, but I would argue you want to head the ground ball double plays. That means you're getting people on base. And
Right.
the teams that are, again, there's an anomaly here. Like the Cubs score a lot of runs. They only hit into 22 double plays. So bravo to the Cubs. That means you're hitting the ball and you're not getting the double plays, which is excellent. But the Texas Rangers are currently 26 on the list of the most double plays. They have a lot of stats that are bad for them as a hidden staff.
What's their on base percentage? That's key. You got to look at that.
The on base percentage for the Texas Rangers as a whole?
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. On base percentage for the team. Let's just make it easy and list the last of them first. Yeah, they're tied for last.
That's it.
They're at 285, and they are tied with the Rockies at 285.
I hate to be all Billy Bean on you, but maybe take a pitch.
And just so you know, I think the Angels are prime and ready for the batter five. They are third with a 288. Then the White Sox and the Royals. And the Texas Rangers just got destroyed by the White Sox. That .005 is a big deal, everybody.
Yeah, I think you can cross the The Angels off the list for the 5-game winning streak. They went 8 games, and that's their season. Their best days are now behind them.
You think that's it? It's over?
For the Angels?
Yeah.
It was such an amazing.
No more streaks?
It was such an amazing.
With losing streaks, yeah.
Let's look at strikeouts. We love strikeouts. How are the Colorado Rockies first and third base strikeout Tantana doing? Well,
this is becoming a podcast. It's just about the Rock. Like everything we do, the first thing we throw up is like, wow, let's see how the Rockies are setting the gold standard of
I thought that we would have a little break here, and we are. Mr. Ryan of the third base, Ryan McMahon. Congratulations. You're currently 5th now in strikeouts with 64. And Michael is still in the lead with 74. But then I said, who cares about strikeouts? I care about the percent of strikeouts you have when you get up to bat. And I said, there's got to be stats for that. And there are. Michael sadly leads that statistic, and he leads it by a mile. And I think at this point, the Colorado Rockies should think about what to do with this guy. He strikes out 38.5% of the time. The next closest is 33%. That's a lot. That's a big difference. Brian Buxton of the Minnesota Twins, who is a great player, strikes out 32.4% of the time. But 38.5% is by far, if he continues this, record-setting. Last year, Eddie De La Cruz had a lot of strikeouts. He was pretty bad. Then I said, wait a second. There's other stats we can look at besides strikeouts. There's walks to strikeouts. Maybe you strike out a lot, but maybe you walk a lot. Kyle Schwarber, for instance, he walks and strikes out quite a bit. Well, I looked at that list, and the only name that you guys will recognize is Trevor Story is 4th on this list. He walks 13% of the time, or 13% compared to a strikeout. So he strikes out basically 9 times for every 1 walk. The worst is Lena Sosa of the Chicago White Sox with a 1.22. Basically a 9-to-1 average on strikeouts to walks. There's your center fielder you traded to the Cubs that everybody thinks is the best player in the world. He's a 1.7. So basically 8 strikeouts, 2 walks.
I'd take him.
So once you get to the 8-2, like there's some really great players like Salvador Perez is a 1.88 this year. Brian Buxton, who I've called, is a 1.96. So Garcia of Texas is a 2.12. So, and when I look at that for Michael, he's down at 17 with a 2.30. So he is not the worst regarding walks to strikeouts. So strikeouts tell some of the story, but then it's walks, it's hits, it's all of that. I think at the end of the day, the guy that I love the best who's on the list all the time for strikeouts, he was leading it all last year pretty much. Eddie De La Cruz is 2nd, and he is doing great, 68 strikeouts, but he's batting .251, 9 home runs, 38 RBIs. I like to think that Eddie De La Cruz is going to figure this out and get better at strikeouts. He's excellent as a player, but he always is on the top 10 in strikeouts for Major League Baseball. So Trevor Story, that's another one that signed with Boston, took a year off for an injury or got injured, and now he's back playing with them. He's also on the list pretty high with 64, but his problem is a 220 average. These averages drive me nuts because I remember you wanted 285 growing up. You wanted to be in the 300s. There's so many hitters that we consider to be really, really good that are not even close to 250.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened to the marketabilities. And but this is where we sit. We're at the 200, 220, 240 range, and you're pretty happy with the player.
I think it's because of StatCast. If you look at some of those at the advanced website for MLB, it actually has diagrams of launch angles and players' optimal launch angles. Now, we always, Dad, I think I remember playing in the backyard. You were like, you want to have a level bat through the strike zone. You want as much time as possible in the strike zone to try to hit that ball. Not that I was a great hitter at any point in my life at all. My limited career in Little League was accentuated by being the strikeout king. But I think the common philosophy was you wanted the bat in the strike zone as much as possible. Now they want a tilt. And I think the optimal angle that they want on that bat coming through is something like 13 degrees. They want like an attack angle of around 11 to 15 degrees coming through. So you're slicing up, which means you're going to miss the ball more, right? You're going to miss the ball more.
There's two players that I think about when we're talking about this because they're big average guys, Pete Rose and Tony Gwynn. And Pete Rose and Tony Gwynn were not necessarily home run hitters, but in today's era, Tony Gwynn could easily have been a home run hitter. He could have hit for power. Pete Rose was the same way. Would you think the data?
I don't think Pete Rose ever was going to hit for power. I disagree with you on that. You're going to get an argument from me on that.
But the data, folks, do you think in the minor leagues or in baseball, if they meet a young Pete Rose or a young Tony Gwynn, do you just not have the average that they have? Are they not the same player at all?
Well, the Padres have that guy who's hitting for high average, right? Dad, what's his name? The name escapes me right now.
I can't pronounce Areaz. He was with
Arias or something.
Yeah.
Arias
Yeah.
or yeah. So
Yeah.
like he's hitting he's hitting for a high average, right?
always does.
Yeah. So like I think you would get a Tony Gwynn, but Tony Gwynn I think was just a really good athlete, right? So Pete Rose, I almost wonder if Pete Rose would have been given the time even to come to the majors. If you look at him, he's not tall. He's this kind of like everything about him was hustle, but he was a guy that made plays happen. I almost question in the StatCast era today if somebody doesn't break him in the minor leagues before he gets to the majors.
Pete Rose, Pete Rose was defensive, best defensive player, I think, at least 3 different positions in his career. Third, first, and left field.
Right.
So he could play defense. He made things happen by getting on base, breaking up double plays. Like you said, he's a great hustler. He played the game so hard you couldn't keep him off the field. You just couldn't. He made, you guys remember Lenny Dykstra, how he did things for the Mets. Lenny Dykstra played the game hard. He just wasn't as talented as Pete Rose. Pete Rose was a switch hitter.
It doesn't help when you're doing lines of blow either.
Pete Rose, I don't like him as a human being, but he is a great player. Great player.
Speaking of Tony Gwynn, producer Eric just texted and he said Ellie De La Cruz by the end of the month will pass Tony Gwynn in career strikeouts.
I have no doubt about it.
And Ellie De La Cruz is 23.
Yeah.
Tony Gwynn was so ridiculous on the stat of strikeouts in his career. It's so maddening to watch. Like he could never manage today. He would lose his mind.
Who, Rose or Gwynn?
Gwynn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, last year Eddie De La Cruz led the league in strikeouts. He had 218, and he's currently sitting at second.
Isn't this guy's name Ellie, not Eddie?
Yeah,
Ellie. Yes, thank you, Ellie. I said Eddie. Ellie De La Cruz. Yes, he is a strikeout leader in 2024, and then in 2023 it was Kyle Schwarber of the Philadelphia Phillies. But if you look at that, he had 126 walks and 215 strikeouts. So that's a very rare combo for a strikeout guy to have a lot of walks. So, this is an interesting time in baseball, but it's not a bad time. Because if you're looking at like how these players produce, you got guys like Aaron Judge hitting 397, Freddie Freeman second in hitting for average. I think he's 357 right now. So this is these are times where the power hitters are also hitting for average. It's really a great time to be watching baseball from that standpoint because, I didn't think Aaron Judge was capable of hitting this high as an average because of his height and his size, but his his swing mechanics have gotten really, really great. Um, you know, it's just, to me, it's just, this is an interesting time for baseball. That's for hitting, because again, you have a lot of 220 guys. Like right now in the league, we're only 50 games in, and I remember I used to follow. You have 3 or 4 batters that would have a chance at 400 back in the day. 15 players are above 300. 15 in all of
Yeah.
baseball are above 300. 50 games into the season, and that's it. 300 exactly. Behind that, it's 299. But I mean, that is not what I'm used to in baseball. Maybe people will comment and say, "Oh, that's crazy." But it was always like 15. I always remember the number to be much higher, especially early in the season. And the run against 400 that was talked about every so often, not every year, but every so often there was a player getting to the All-Star break that may have had a shot at it. But
Right. You always had like it was always good to you get batting title, you get somebody just 338, 340, somewhere around there, right?
yeah, I just wonder, like, to me, if the full circle's coming, like in basketball, everyone just went to all the data, and they're shooting all these threes, and you get to a point where you're not scoring 20 more points a game. And this, it's like you're not hitting 10 more home runs, or you're not hitting 20 more home runs. It's not like we have 18 is the home run leader right now. So, like, if you were to say, hey,
Yeah.
forget the data, I'm just going to get on base all the time and hit 330, I don't know how you're not usable. Like, I don't know how. I think Pete Rose hits because of his bat in the zone, his level swing, just the way he played the game. 330 in today's era, you're on base. What are you scoring, over 100
Your
runs?
pitches are also different though, Brennan. Like you got to look too, like the number of guys that are throwing over 95 miles an hour. And I think they
Yes.
said something where like your average for any pitch above 97 miles an hour, I think the league average is 161 for pitches above 97 miles an hour. So, number one, why would I not get a pitcher to throw as hard as humanly possible? Because if he's throwing over 97, I know you're not hitting 200, right? So, number two, if I also am training my batters to have more of a tilt, because all I have to do is catch the ball on the
Right.
bat, and I've got a chance of lining it over the infield at the very least, and then at the best, I can catch a home run out of the thing. I mean, that's the remarkable thing to me is the reaction times are so much faster. The game is so much faster, and now we've got Tyler Skubal. Like that pitching performance he had this week was incredible. I think the last pitch, what did he trigger, 103.
Yep.
103. The last pitch in a complete game is triggering 103.
Yep. That was
Like, it's brutal. Nobody's batting 340 against that.
I don't disagree. The game has changed. I think, again, it's easy to go back into eras and say, well, what if you put this person, that person, those kind of things. Talent is talent. The pitching for sure is 100 as much faster. It's just like the way that I look at it. I think Tony Gwynn in today's era is still hitting. I still think Pitt Rose is hitting. I think these guys are able to hit. I mean,
They would adjust.
yes,
They would absolutely adjust.
they the great hitters, I think, like a Pete Rose would have figured it out. He would have stand further back. He would have choked up. He would have figured it out to get on base. He would have figured it out. I think
Yep.
that's why I'm wondering, is it bad? All the data is driving players to listen and do what they're supposed to do to try to make it to the big dance. Or do you have that instinct of like, this is what I know will work? Interesting aspect of the complete games. I know, Todd, you and I were talking, or you had brought up earlier in an episode, that the complete game for a career is pretty much safe forever. There have been 8 complete games this season so far. 8. And there's not a single pitcher who has 2. They all have 1. There's 8 of them. That is it. So,
Yeah.
and Dad, to your note about the Diamondbacks earlier being on the batter 5, Corbin Carroll is on the strikeout list, and his batting average has sunk pretty badly here in the last month. But like all things in baseball, he can recover, but he also strikes out quite a bit more than I was accustomed to, especially a smaller guy. But then you say, well, what are his home runs? And I say, well, that's why he's striking out, is he's able to hit the home runs, because he has 16, I believe. No, 15 home runs, which is 5th in all of Major League Baseball right now.
Striking out way too much. But I'm an old timer. I can't stand guys that strike out a lot. It just move the runners along, put the bat on the ball for goodness sakes, you know.
If
Come out with runners on first and second, nobody out. You go back to the dugout and there's one out, first and second. You didn't even move the guy over to third. So that drives you crazy.
if I look at the leaders in home runs, and this is like the top 13 players or so, the least amount of strikeouts of all the home run leaders has 41. 41. And everybody else is 50 plus.
Yeah.
So,
Who's that good guy?
Wilyer Abreu of the Boston Red Sox.
Okay.
And that's just because his at-bats are down. He only has 180 at-bats in comparison. So we're in a league where home runs matter. I understand that. Everybody wants to hit them. They're definitely there for the taking, because if you give a ride to a 95-mile-an-hour pitch, the likelihood of it going over the fence is pretty high. And so this is what you have. That's what I have for the stats of the week. I do agree we can go about the Rockies, but we are watching historic things happen. I do think we need to call it for the Baltimore Orioles. It was a fun time to pretend, but when you're battling with the White Sox currently for records, it's not a good sign at all in the standings. I think that Baltimore is pretty much sunk at 18-34. It's really quite remarkable that that's how they are. I mean, I just never would have guessed them to be fifth, and it's not even like they're around fourth. They are 7 games behind fourth place in that division.
How great would it be for baseball if they came back?
It would be amazing.
Things balance out somewhat. Here's my prediction. Batter 5 next week. Somebody from the American League Central is going to fall off and hit our batter 5. I don't know which one, but they've all been too hot.
You're not incorrect about that. The divisions that were great this week, just so you know, the AL East was wonderful. The AL Central was wonderful. The NL Central was wonderful. Those 3 leagues had no teams hit the batter 5.
Right.
It's very interesting when you watch the leagues have they get to make a run on things. Like the Phillies made a run, which is why they're in the lead right now. They had a 6-1 week. The next best team in their division might have 3-3 week. That'll give it to you. Now again, it helps us play the Rockies. So
yeah,
the Phillies had a nice little run there against some bad teams.
Yeah.
Rockies and A's.
Hey, listen, it's Memorial Day. Thank you to all who served, and big memory for those who gave their lives in service.
Yep.
So.
And for that, watch some baseball, because God knows a lot of folks who played it and served and would love to be watching baseball if they could. That's for darn sure. That's a great.
I have a good story on that. And I'll leave us with this. Buster Olney was talking about one of the 2 players who served in both World War II and Korea. This was not Ted Williams. That is the guy who ended up being an announcer for one of the teams in baseball. And they always asked him, people come up to him and say, hey, you served in 2 wars, you're a real hero. And he goes, I'm not the hero. The heroes are the guys who didn't come home.
Right.
As always, thank you very much, Todd. It was a good story. Dad bounced. I'm going to say bye, and I appreciate everybody joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm your host, Brendan, and that's Todd. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good one.